The window manager I developed is called rrwm. I recently released a new version of it. This is the GitHub page for my project. You can check the release notes for the new version in the release section on the right. In this video, I will introduce the new features of my window manager. By default, newly opened windows are arranged in a tile layout. I have set up a shortcut key, Alt-Shift-Space-Bar. You can switch a tiled window back to a floating window. Then press the same shortcut key again. You can switch a floating window back to a tiled window. It's simply about switching between these two states. If a tab has both a tiled window and a floating window, there are also floating windows. You can use the Alt key plus the spacebar. Switch focus between floating and stacked windows. I currently have two floating windows on this tab. This is a tablet mirror image. This is an MPV player. For these floating windows, you can also use Alt combined with NEI to switch the focus up, down, left, and right. And for the floating windows, the relative positions in all directions are determined by the top left corner. For example, if the focus is currently on the MPV player, switching the focus to the left will change it to the mirror image of this tablet. Switching the focus down again will take you back to the MPV player. This MPV player is located in the current tab, the floating window on the far right. So if I switch the focus to the right again now, it will directly trigger switching between tabs. When a tag has multiple split windows open, you can press Alt-Tab-ER to switch to the resize mode. I am now switching to the resize mode. You will see that the border of the currently focused window turns red. The color settings for this are configured in Windows Active. This color is in the normal mode. The color is purple. Then it switched to the resize mode. It becomes red then, and now it's in the resize mode. At the very bottom, there are keyboard keys related to the resize mode. I can press NEA. Adjust the size of the window accordingly. Then, adjust the size of the window accordingly. You can press ESC or the Enter key to exit. Once you enter this resize mode, these regular shortcut keys will be disabled. Only the shortcut keys specific to the resize mode will remain active. This effectively prevents any conflicts between these shortcut keys. Regarding the floating window, even if there is only one window, you can still press Alt-R to enter this resize mode. And similarly, using NEAT, you can adjust the size of this window. If you feel that the adjustment range is not sufficient, you can change this value. For example, you can increase the values of 5 and 10. I also set up some shortcut keys. You can use Alt-Shift-10EI to move the elements as well. This is when you are in the resize mode, which means simply moving its coordinates. I am now exiting this resize mode. When I press the Alt-Shift-I keys, you can see that this involves moving across tags. That is, while in the resize mode. Regarding this floating window, the combination of Alt-T-Shift, a certain key, their functions are different. Of course, all these key combinations can be customized. For the floating window, if you don't want to enter resize mode, you can use the keyboard to adjust the size and move the window coordinates. I have also set up two shortcut keys for this. You can also use the mouse to perform these operations. By pressing Alt and the left mouse button, you can drag it anywhere on the window to change its coordinates. Then hold down Alt and right-click. You can drag it anywhere on the window to adjust its size. The previous resize mechanism was inspired by Sway and rrwm. I also implemented a shortcut key for minimizing the window. I configured it to use the Alt plus and minus keys, as well as the Alt plus equal sign key. It can be seen that the current focus is on the nearby window. I press the Alt T minus keys. It simply hid away. The same kitty window. Press Alt plus the equal sign. It also gets hidden. Now let's switch to another tab. I press Alt plus the minus sign. The previously hidden neophyte appears again. Then it restores the currently active tab. Again, press Alt plus the equal sign. The previously hidden kitty window also reappears. It is restored to the tab that is currently in focus. In other words, you are using Alt plus the minus sign or Alt plus the equal sign. You can store a hidden window just like a register. You can press these keys to toggle their display and hiding states. You can also configure multiple sets of shortcut keys to achieve this function. Next, let's talk about the configuration of the window rule section. Here, you can specify the width and height of the window using the app ID. I'm going to launch Google Chrome now. As you can see, it only occupies 27 of the entire screen width. This is exactly what was specified in this section. Just like the full screen and floating states, when it is first launched, you can also specify it here. For example, with this MPV player, I specified that it should automatically go full screen and stay on top when launched. So now I'm going to start an MPV and it will automatically fill the entire screen. By default, I exit full screen mode. You can see that it appears as a floating window. You can also configure the icon here. The icon configured here will be dynamically displayed in the bottom taskbar. For example, if neophyte is currently in focus, the icon shown below is a neovim icon. I am now switching the focus to the Google Chrome browser on the right. Then this icon changes to represent the Google Chrome browser. I will now launch Kiro as well. And I have configured a custom icon for it here. That is the icon for Visual Studio. So the icon that appears below it corresponds to that. If you don't configure this matching icon here, Then the icon configured in the waybar above will be used by default. If you also don't specify an icon here, in that case, it will default using Arabic numerals, the app ID in the window rule section. You can use rrwm for that. Use the appid parameter for querying. Execute this command. It will display the appid of the already launched software here. Next, let's talk about the subsequent development plan. I see that some expert here is also using the River protocol. Develop a window manager similar to Neri. Its window manager features cool animation effects. I will try to use some of its code at that time. For my window manager, I also want to add this animated effect. There are still some functions that I cannot implement yet. For example, this floating window. When it loses focus, it moves other windows to the top position. What I initially envisioned was to assign a transparency level to these floating windows. But currently, River does not support setting transparency for these windows. So for now, this plan is put on hold temporarily. Okay, that is all for this video episode. Thank you all for watching.